The sentencing of Senator Ekweremadu and his wife, Mrs. Beatrice Ekweremadu, and their doctor, Dr. Obinna Obeta, had recently gone viral on social media. If you have been wondering what led to the sentencing, stay tuned to this video as we take you through the full story. The story evolves around 5 main persons. For better understanding, I would like to give a background knowledge of them. Senator Ekweremadu is a Nigerian politician and lawyer. He hails from Enugu State. He was the Deputy Senate President from 2007 to 2019, which makes him the longest-serving Deputy Senate President in Nigeria. Mrs. Beatrice Ekweremadu is the wife of Senator Ekweremadu, who also hails from Enugu State, Nigeria. Miss Sonia Ekweremadu is the daughter of Senator Ike and Dr. Beatrice Ekweremadu, a 25-year-old graduate of Media and Communications. Dr. Obinna Obeta is a Nigerian doctor based in the UK. David is a young Nigerian boy who sells phones accessories. The Ekweremadu family was known as a highly profiled and well-to-do family in Nigeria, with their father holding prominent position in Nigeria and their children schooling abroad and living a comfortable life until August 2021, when the Ekweremadus received a sad news from their doctor that their beautiful daughter Sonia would need a kidney transplant to survive. Because of the poor medical service in Nigeria, high-profile and wealthy families like the Ekweremadus are known to travel abroad to well-developed countries for medical treatment, and Sonia's case wasn't an exception. The search for a kidney donor was done privately without the knowledge of the public until June 23, 2022, when it broke in the news that Senator Ekweremadu has been arrested for organ trafficking. Organ trafficking is when a person of vulnerability is exploited, deceived, coerced, threatened, or forced to agree to the donation of any of their body parts. Based on reports, a young man named David had reported himself to a police station in the UK, and after a short interrogation by the police officers, it was discovered that he was a victim of organ trafficking. The story later unveiled that Senator Ekweremadu had contacted a relative in the UK by name Mr. Dewey to relate Sonia's case. Mr. Dewey suggested that he knew a doctor who had gone through a kidney transplant and would be able to help. Mr. Dewey then introduced Dr. Obinna Obeta to Sonia's case, and since Dr. Obinna had successfully gone through the process of a kidney transplant for himself, he was considered perfect for the job. Dr. Obinna, who was also willing to do the job for the exchange of a huge sum of money, Dr. Obinna and Mr. Dewey started arrangements to get a kidney donor from Nigeria and found David, a young, poor Nigerian boy who grew up in a small village in Nigeria but later moved to the popular city in Nigeria called Lagos in search of his daily bread. While in Lagos, he sold phone accessories for a living and was said to earn around 3,500 naira per day, which is around $5. David was coerced into following Ekweremadus to the UK with the promise of being paid the sum of 3.5 million naira, which is around $4,700. Also promised a job and a better life in the UK, and all he had to do was donate a kidney. David agreed to this arrangement without having proper knowledge of the risk involved in donating a kidney and the entire process, which was against the laws and constitutions of England, which says that organ donation must be driven by compassion without any form of reward. So David followed the Ekweremadus to the UK with the hope of just donating a kidney and being given the sum of 3.5 million naira and also having a job in the UK, and he thought his life would change forever. On arriving in the UK, David was taken to Royal Free Hospital, the same hospital where Dr. Obinna had his kidney transplant in 2021. Before executing the transplant, the doctors had to interview David to be sure that he understood what he was about to embark on. After the interview, they found that David didn't have proper awareness of the risk of a kidney transplant. Neither did he seem self-motivated to donate his kidney. The doctors decided not to execute the transplant. Now, what this meant to David was that he won't be getting 3.5 million naira as promised, and that he'll be taken back to Nigeria, and his hope of having a changed life wouldn't be fulfilled. So David thought of a plan. He ran away from the Ekweremadus into the streets of London. After days of roaming the streets of London, he found his way to a police station where he made a report. After being interrogated by the police, it was found that David is a victim of organ trafficking, hence making the secret plans of the Ekweremadus public. It was a big shock on social media when it was announced that Senator Ekweremadu has been arrested for organ trafficking. On June 30th, 2022, the Ekweremadus made their first appearance in court on the charges under the Britain Modern Slavery Act, of which they pleaded not guilty, claiming that David was Sonia's cousin and had voluntarily agreed to donate his kidney. On the 31st of January, Mr. and Mrs. Ekweremadu was in court, while Sonia was in the hospital. On the 23rd of March, Sonia was declared not guilty, while Senator Ekweremadu and his wife and Dr. Obinna had a case to defend. David was kept in a secured place by the UK government, while the Ekweremadus and their doctor continued to battle their case in courts. Senator Ekweremadu spent a huge amount of money getting lawyers to defend him, his wife, and his doctor in the courts. On the 6th of May 2023, the court gave their judgment.
The applicable starting points are custodial sentences of 10 years in the case of Obinna Abeta, 10 years and 6 months in the case of Ekweremadu, and 6 years in the case of Beatrice Ekweremadu.
According to the courts, David had refused to take any form of compensation and is asking to continue with his normal life. Sonia had made an open appeal to the public for a kidney donor, and according to her, she has gotten several people who are willing to make a kidney donation for her.
Shortly after that, I had put out an appeal and a lot of people came up, but we weren't really able to do anything with that as of now because I'm still on dialysis. Hopefully I would be able to get the transplant soon, but as you know, our family is still in the middle of a trial. I would like to also use this opportunity to apologize to them. Obviously there's the support of my siblings and obviously my parents' siblings as well. However, I don't think it would ever be the same. I feel guilty because I feel like all this has happened because of me.